got back from 8 days and 8 nights at Disney World in Orlando, Florida, and I'm gonna tell you something that no one really talks about, which is how much it actually cost our family to go. We are a family of 4, 2 adults and 2 kids, one who's 5 and one who's 2. So let's talk about how much it actually cost us to visit Disney World for a family of 4 for 8 days and 8 nights. The first thing that we spent money on was plane tickets. I did not want to drive, which would have been a 12 to 14 hour drive, and instead we flew, which we had to buy plane tickets for all 4 of us. So the total for that was $2,128.44. However, we did not spend the whole amount. We actually did a little bit of travel hacking and had gift cards and a voucher for Southwest, which had a direct flight from our city. So we really spent $1,158.46, but the total was over $2,000 before we put in our gift cards and redeemed some points. The next expense was our hotel. So we did stay at the deluxe resorts at Disney World. We stayed at Boardwalk for 5 nights, and then we stayed at Animal Kingdom for 3 nights. We did upgrade a little bit and get a savannah view so we could see the giraffes eating at night, and we saw some zebras walking around. It was really cool, and I think it was worth it. We did have a great discount on our hotel room because our friends are DVC members, which is Disney's version of a timeshare, and we did benefit from that because they booked our room, and our room total for 8 nights was $1,484. Like, amazing. That was great, especially for the nicer resorts. I will say I definitely liked Boardwalk more than Animal Kingdom. I loved the animal view, but Boardwalk is so convenient, and we could walk to 2 different parks, both Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and that made a huge difference in our day and how things went because it was just so easy to access the parks. Speaking of the parks, we did buy park tickets for 3 members of our family. Because my son was 2 years old, we did not have to buy a park ticket for him, which was great, and it did reduce the amount that we spent on park tickets. So we did purchase 8 days of park tickets, which I see in retrospect was a mistake because we didn't use them on the very last day, which was also our travel day to go home. And we had a wedding the next day. When we originally booked the tickets, we expected to use them, but based on our circumstances, we decided that best for our family and our kids and just our sanity was to skip that last day, but we did pay for 8 days of park tickets. We purchased them on Undercover Tourist, and there are a couple different places that you can purchase tickets on Disney for a discount, and it worked great. It was fine, and it was $2,101.99 for our park tickets. That was a little less than $100 cheaper than buying them on Disney directly, so we did get a little bit of a discount there. I'm not really sure how much this would cost if you were purchasing it from a Disney travel agent, but I did look up the price on Costco for the rooms that we had along with the park tickets, like a combo deal if you purchase from Costco Vacations, because sometimes people do that for a little bit of savings, and the price was $7,766. So our total was way less than that, and saving like $4 grand was really nice on the big purchases in the beginning because we did end up spending a little more on things like food later. So in addition to our park tickets, we had the park extras. These were the things that made it a much better and more convenient trip, and things that you don't really think about when you're planning, but you end up needing to pay for. So we did purchase magic bands before we went. So we got 3 magic bands, the discounted cheaper version on the Disney website. So we spent in total on the 3 magic bands $43.86. The magic bands are what you scan to get in the park, and for every ride they unlock your doors. They were amazing, and actually it was really cool because my daughter thought it was like magical that she could just put up her magic band to things and get in. She loved it. It was definitely worth getting instead of trying to do it on my phone every time, which was my original idea, but $43 was not much to do for that experience. The other thing that was an extra was Genie Plus. So now you basically pay for Genie Plus per day per person, so that you can go on the fast track of skipping the line and doing something a much faster way than waiting in line for the 30, 60, hour and 20, however long, 3-hour lines they are. So we did do this for 4 days. So for 4 days, we purchased Genie Plus for me, my husband, and my daughter. And since we were doing a lot of the rider swap where I would ride with my daughter, then my husband would ride with me, this worked out really well on the days that we used it. So we did purchase it for 4 days. We did not purchase it at Animal Kingdom, and we did only go to Animal Kingdom 1 day, but we purchased it for 4 days at the other parks, and it really, really paid off at some of the parks. Like one of the days that we went to Magic Kingdom, we did Genie Plus, and we did over 20 rides and activities there. We were just like doing everything and doing it so fast. It was really cool. and highly recommend on certain parks. Those lines looked really long, honestly, and some of the lines we waited in were really long for certain things. But overall, I was really happy with the price and what we got out of Genie Plus. I'm glad we didn't like do it every single day though. So the total for the 4 days for 3 of us for Genie Plus was $327, and I think it fluctuates in price based on who's paying and the days. It was a little confusing, and honestly, I did not handle that part of it. Our friend Alex, who is the DVC member who basically booked all of our stuff through the app, he paid for it for us, and then we refunded him back for that. Honestly, if you don't have a friend like we did who was basically planning and telling us everything to do and even doing the app for us, definitely get a Disney travel agent. They can help you and figure out everything for you, and definitely worth it because Disney is its own weird little like thing where you need to understand how it works. You need to either have someone that understands how it works or someone that is on your team and helps you understand how it works so that you can get the most out of it. Otherwise, you spend a lot of money and you don't get the best experience. I could definitely see that happening to people at the park, and it was really kind of frustrating because you're paying so much money and you're not getting the most that you can. No, thank you. So either have a friend that knows Disney or get a travel agent because they're free, and I think they get refunded from what you paid for your resort. So our part for Genie Plus and also our part for the photo pass, because we decided to do a photo pass and take pictures, and then we paid someone to be on their account to download them later. Not sure that's like what you're supposed to do, but that's what our friends did. So we paid for our part of that as well. I cannot condone doing that, but it was a lot cheaper. Then we also did rent a stroller, which I guess is a park extra because we would not have survived without it. There are a lot of options for strollers. You can bring your own, but we did not have a double stroller. I did not want to buy one. You can rent from Disney, but you have to rent when you get to the park and then put it back before you leave the park. That sounded like a nightmare for us because what are we going to do with our 2 kids once we're going back to the hotel? And then stroller option number 3, which is what we did, we rented from a third party. The total cost for our stroller for the entire time we were there was $105.44. They dropped it off at the hotel we were staying at, and they picked it up from the hotel that we left from. We never saw the company. We left it with Bell service. It was amazing. It was easy, and they were actually really great to use. So I would highly recommend them. Scooterbug Rentals, I will leave their link down below. I have no affiliation or get anything from this, but I did love the stroller. It was so useful, and we got our money's worth. $105, beyond worth it. Our kids both rode in it so much, and we used that stroller for everything. I do wish that we had brought stroller clips. Our friends gave us one from the pack that they had, but stroller clips is not something that was in my mind to bring, but it was so useful for water bottles. So if you are planning to rent a stroller, bring some stroller clips or rent them from the people. Super worth it. Put your water bottles on and stuff like that. Highly recommend. Okay, and now to the 2 categories where we had some variable spending while we're at the parks, and those are merchandise and souvenirs and food. These are the 2 categories where we could basically blow our budget, and to be honest, we did. We went over budget in one category. So for souvenirs and things for both my husband, myself, and our 2 kids, we had kind of a budget of roughly $500. And we stayed under it. So that was great. We spent $457.85 on basically stuff. We bought a lot of pins. I did some pin trading, which was really fun for me. So that was kind of like an experience as well as something that I got to bring home. So I bought pins. I bought a cute little Snow White thing that I actually have back here in my office, and we'll be putting a plant in. And then my husband bought some t-shirts, some pins, and then each child got like 1 souvenir. So my daughter got an Ariel bubble wand, and my son got a small little bus because he was obsessed with the buses and having like Mickey and Goofy and all of them on the buses. He was just obsessed. He thought Donald Duck was driving the buses and Mickey Mouse was driving the buses. If their picture was on it, they were driving. It was the cutest little thing. It was a $10 souvenir. Well worth it. So we did well on souvenirs and buying stuff. We didn't go crazy, but we still all got something that we love, are still excited about, and are happy to have. So let's talk about food next because we did go over budget on our food budget. I expected this to happen because I really wasn't sure what we would be spending. We also booked like 5 different character dining and special dining experiences that were on the more pricey side. We decided that we would maybe cancel 1 or 2, or if we really wanted to save money, cancel most of them. But in the end, once we got there, we decided that we loved being there. We didn't want to worry about the money we spent on food and experiences, and we were not coming back anytime soon. So it was going to be a bigger trip, and we just didn't want to worry about that budget. So a couple days in, we ended up buying a few $100s more in gift cards, like $800 more in gift cards from Target. So we did get a 5% discount, and we added that to what we already had. I'll be honest, I didn't have a really good idea because I've never been to Disney. I did do a few things to save money, like we brought my husband some beer for him to have at night. So I mostly drank water, and we put water in our water bottles. We had Pedialyte packs. We had a thing of Gatorade we brought. I did actually bring some snacks for my kids. So every day my kids mostly ate snacks that I brought. So it's amazing how much money we spent on food considering how many snacks they ate that we brought. They didn't buy any snacks. The only snacks my kids got were popcorn, and we bought them the Mickey ice cream bars. So really, I was kind of amazed at how much we were spending on food, but it did include food, alcohol. I had a few drinks. I did have a mimosa one time and a special drink at Epcot. So I had 3 drinks in total, and then coffee every morning, me and my husband both, and then also the character dining experiences. So in total, with all of that, all of those different types of food and drinks, we spent $1,797.70. Woo! So about $1,800 for 8 days, actually 8 days and 1 night, because the night we got there, we also bought dinner when we got there. So a little bit over 8 days worth of food. Of that $1,800, we did spend $741 on the special and character dining experiences. So that included dinner at Ohana, which I highly recommend if you are looking into dining experiences. It's at the Polynesian Resort. It was amazing. It was some of the best food. It was so good. And then we also had breakfast at Topolino's Terrace. Highly recommend that as well. Really, really good. The other 2 that we did, I would not recommend. The food was not that great. We did the storybook dining in Norway in Epcot, and it was for a breakfast. It was kind of brunch time. It was not good. The only great part about that was my daughter did get to meet the princesses, so she was happy and she had a great time. She liked the food. And then we also did the Hollywood and Vine dining package, where we got to see the Fantasmic show as well, with seating already reserved. So that was worth it because Fantasmic was amazing, and having seats was nice, and being really close was fantastic. It changed my son's life, honestly. But the food at Hollywood and Vine was kind of mediocre. It wasn't the best thing we ate by far, but it was pretty expensive. So if we were to do it again, we would have done maybe breakfast or chosen one of the other Fantasmic dining that was at a different place that was a little bit cheaper. So that's kind of the review on the special dining that we did. We did spend $741 on those 4 experiences. 2 were worth it and amazing, and 2 were not that great. They weren't trash, but they were not the best experiences ever, especially when you're spending so much on the meal. So all in total, the amount that we spent on our Disney trip was $8,446.28. Of that, actually our money that we paid for was $7,476.30. So we paid about $7,500 of our own money toward this trip. A general estimate of what this trip would have cost if we didn't have some of the shortcuts and discounts and special things that we had thanks to our friends, thanks to some of the stuff we did, would have been $12,637. Kind of an estimate of what it would have cost. So $8,400 basically is what we spent on our Disney World trip, $8,446.28. I'm happy with that amount for 8 days and 8 nights there, basically $1,000 a day if you want to break it down that way. I don't think it's that outrageous. Originally when I planned this trip, I had $5,000 in mind for it, but we did go for a little bit longer than I had thought we would. A few of our friends are planning trips now to Disney World, and they are going for a much shorter period than we did. They're going for 4 park days and 1 rest day or something like that. So 4 or 5 days is what they're going for, and I think that would have cut a lot of our spending off, obviously, and made it closer to that $5,000 mark. But because we added those extra days and extra nights and upgraded in a few places like our hotel room for the second stay and doing the multiple character dining experiences, we did spend a little bit more. We have decided we're not going back anytime soon. It'll probably be at least 3 to 5 years before we go back to Disney, if we go back at all. But we would want to go back when my son is able to ride all of the rides He's only 2 now and he's pretty short, so we'll definitely need to wait till he's at least 5 or 6. So 3 to 5 years maybe we'll take him back so he can experience it. It was really fun, but I definitely don't plan to go back next year or every year after that. I loved going to Disney. I'm happy with what we spent because we could afford it. It was within our means, and I did make some purchases that were amazing and others that really missed the mark. So if you want to see the best and worst purchases of our Disney World trip, definitely check out that next video here.